Good morning, dear students, and welcome back to this online class of chemistry. In the last video, we completed our double decomposition reaction. There we discussed that what is neutralization reaction and precipitation reaction. Now, I am going to discuss that what are the energy changes in a chemical change or in a chemical reaction. So, as we know that what is chemical change? That means they are irreversible, they are permanent and new substances are formed. And we know that every substance has a stored amount of energy in it. A chemical change is associated with the evolution or absorption of energy which is required to break or form different bonds between the molecules of the reactant and products. And this energy is in the form of maybe heat, light or electricity. That means the surplus of energy is released or absorbed depending on the energy of the products and reactants. So what are the evidence of chemical change? So let's see. During the chemical change, color will be changed. Okay, the gas may be evolved out or absorbed out. Temperature change, it form that precipitate. Okay, these are that evidence during the chemical change. So first we discuss that what is exothermic reaction. So let's see, exothermic reaction means the reaction in which heat is evolved out. That means it is a chemical reaction which proceeds with the evolution of heat energy. And remember that during the exothermic reaction, okay, heat is evolved out and an exothermic reaction can be sustained without supply of external energy. So let's see some examples of external energy. See here, when carbon react with oxygen, it produces carbon dioxide plus heat energy. That means here what? The heat is evolved out, that burning of fuels, what? Or burning of coal. When carbon will be react with oxygen, it produces carbon dioxide plus heat energy. So it is an example of exothermic reaction. Next you see, when hydrogen react with nitrogen, it produces ammonia. This is also an example of exothermic reaction. The next see, when hydrogen react with oxygen, it produces water. And the next one, when sulfur dioxide react with oxygen, it produces what? Sulfur trioxide plus heat energy. That means it is also an example of exothermic reaction. Next example, see, when methane, when react with oxygen, it produces carbon dioxide plus water. Okay, that means that burning of natural gas, it is also an example of exothermic reaction. The next example, see here, when calcium oxide react with oxygen, calcium oxide react with water, it produces what? Slackline, that is calcium hydroxide. Okay, when calcium oxide react with water, it produces calcium hydroxide, that is CaOH whole twice. Okay, that is also an example of exothermic reaction. And next example, see here, C6H12O6 plus oxygen. Okay, it produces what? Carbon dioxide plus water. That means what? The process of respiration. This is also an example of exothermic reaction. So these are the examples of exothermic reaction. Exothermic reaction means the reaction in which heat is evolved out. Okay, that reaction is known as exothermic reaction. Now we have moved to what is endothermic reaction. Endothermic reaction means heat is absorbed. Okay, that means it is a chemical reaction which proceeds with that absorption of heat energy. It's called endothermic reaction. And here endothermic reaction cannot be sustained without supply of external energy. You know that in exothermic reaction what happens? They can be sustained, okay, without supply of external energy. But in endothermic reaction, it cannot be sustained without supply of external energy. So let's see some example of endothermic reaction. Here you can find out that see cooking of an egg, melting of ice, splitting of gas molecules, photosynthesis. Okay, you know that photosynthesis what? That means the plants prepare their food in the presence of sunlight, carbon dioxide and water. Okay, so it produces what? That glucose plus oxygen. These are here what happen? Energy is absorbed. Okay, so these are the examples of what? endothermic reaction. You can say that when nitrogen react with oxygen, it produces nitric oxide. Carbon react with water, okay, it produces what? Carbon monoxide plus hydrogen. When calcium carbonate decompose, it produces calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide. See here what happened? Heat is absorbed. So these are the examples of endothermic reaction. So now I have discussed that what is the difference between that exothermic reaction and endothermic reaction. Exothermic reaction means what? That means heat is evolved out. During the chemical reaction, it is evolved out. That means the reaction proceeds with the evolution of heat. But endothermic reaction means the reaction which proceeds with the absorption of heat. That means the reaction proceeds with the absorption of heat is known as endothermic reaction. You can see here the difference between that exothermic reaction and endothermic reactions. So now we have to discuss that what is photochemical reaction. Photochemical reaction also is a chemical reaction which proceeds with absorption of light energy. Remember that the reaction which proceeds with absorption of light energy are known as a photochemical reaction. So let's see that example, that is photosynthesis. As we know that photosynthesis means what? That carbon dioxide plus water. Okay, in the presence of chlorophyll and sunlight, it produces what? Glucose, C6H12O6 plus water plus oxygen. So photosynthesis will be done in the presence of sunlight. Okay, that means this reaction will be carry on the presence of light energy. So this is that examples of what? Photochemical reaction. You can say that when hydrogen react with chlorine in the presence of sunlight, it produces hydrogen chloride. This is also is an example of a photochemical reaction. Okay, because it is this reaction is proceeds in the presence of sunlight. And you can say that when silver bromide, when it decomposes, it produces silver bromide plus bromine. These all are the examples of what? Photochemical reaction, because these reactions are proceeds with absorption of light energy. Okay, so this type of reaction are known as a photochemical reaction. Now we have discussed that what is electrochemical reaction. This is also a chemical reaction which proceeds with the absorption of electrical energy. Okay, that means the reaction which will proceeds in the presence of electricity. Okay, by supplying of electricity, that is known as what? Electrochemical reaction. See here that example, water. From water you have to separate that hydrogen and oxygen by supplying of electricity. Okay, or you can say that NaCl. Okay, you will be separate Na plus plus Cl minus from sodium chloride. That is also in the presence of electricity. By applying electricity, you have to get that Na plus plus Cl minus. So these are the examples of what? Electrochemical reaction. That means the chemical reaction which proceeds with absorption of electricity is known as a electrochemical reaction. For example, to separate hydrogen and oxygen from water by applying electricity. Okay, or you can separate sodium plus chlorine from that sodium chloride by supplying electricity. These are the examples of electrochemical reactions. And now we have moved to the next topic, that is what are the conditions will require the formation of a chemical change, or you can say that that chemical, what are the factors required to bring out that chemical change. So first one is by close contact or by supply of energy. So first we discuss that what is close contact. Close contact means it is a chemical reaction or the chemical change between the substance. That means the take place due to the collision of particles when they are close contact with each other. That means they collide with each other. Okay, that is known as close contact. That means that it will be formed in that solid form or it in that liquid form. So see here, that means close contact. No reaction can take place between the reactants if kept far apart. If they are far apart, then no reaction will be take place. But say the reaction is added for solid particles by increasing the surface area by that means by that grinding, powdering or that grinding, then you have to get that chemical changes will be take place. For example, see, when iodine react with that phosphorus, okay, what happen? It react explosively, okay, it react vigorously. That means close contact, iodine react with the phosphorus, or you can say that potassium iodide or that mercury chloride, okay, when they will be close contact, that means chemical change will be take place. Like this in liquid form, that is what? Contact in solution, okay. That means in the liquid state, the molecules or ions are in a state of motions, okay, or close contact is established more quickly between the reacting particles by taking at least one of the reactants in the solution form. For example, you can say that solution of carbonate and tartaric acid, when they will be react with each other, that means vigorously react, okay, and you can say that that precipitation reactions, these are that what? In the liquid form only. So what you find? The chemical change take place by close contact, okay. The next one is by supply of energy. That means chemical change will be take place by supply of energy. So what are the energy you have to supply? That means heat. First one is heat. That means you can find out most of the chemical reactions are brought about by heating the reaction together. That means if the reactant site heat, then it produce also, that means a new substance will form, okay. That means chemical change will be take place. For example, see here, when nitrogen react with oxygen, okay, that in the presence of heat, it produce nitric oxide. Understood? That means the chemical change will be take place in the presence of heat. That means by supplying of heat energy, chemical change take place. The next one, see, light. By supplying light energy. What is that one? That means the reaction which is influenced by the presence of light. For example, photosynthesis in the presence of sunlight, okay, that, or you can say that when oxygen in the presence of sunlight, it converted into ozone, O3, okay, or when hydrogen react with chlorine in the presence of sunlight, it produce hydrogen chloride, HCl, okay. That means the reaction which is influenced by the presence of sunlight, that also, there also chemical change takes place. The next one is electricity, okay. So that many reactants are brought about by passage of an electric current through the reactants, then also chemical change take place. For example, you can say that hydrogen and oxygen, okay, from water, to separate hydrogen and oxygen from the water is also is an example of chemical change. That means by supplying electricity, chemical change take place. The next one, see, pressure. That means, see, some chemical reaction take place on subjecting the reactants to pressure. For example, see, when nitrogen react with hydrogen at high pressure, okay, then it produce what? Ammonia. That means here also what? Chemical change take place. That means by applying pressure, chemical change also take place. The next one is catalyst. You know that catalyst. Catalyst means what? It is a substance which speeds up or slow down the reaction without changing any chemical composition. By applying the catalyst also, chemical change take place. For example, see here, ammonia when react with oxygen, it produces nitric oxide plus water. Okay, so what are the catalysts you have use here? Here use that platinum. Okay, so by using catalyst also, chemical change take place. The next one, see, sound. That means certain chemical reaction proceed only by the absorption of sound energy. That means by providing sound energy, chemical change also take place. For example, acetylene, that is C2H2 acetylene. When I absorb the sound energy, it produces carbon plus hydrogen. So what are the what you find here? What you observe here? By applying some energy, the chemical change take place, or by close contact, chemical change will be take place. So these are the factors that which bring that about a chemical change. So what are the factors? That means by close contact or by supply of energy. Thank you.